the channel. Long time no see. You might have seen some versions of this coming up. Had trouble with orientation on the camera using a phone on this, and but anyway, I think we're just about there. So good evening, everybody, and yeah, long time no see. Apologies, things have been a bit busy here with wedding preparations and a bit of illness and things, winter colds and coughs and stuff. But anyway, just thought I'd go through an interesting game here I've been playing, Skies Above Britain from GMT by Gina Willis and Joe White. And I've been running through a campaign here, chapter 1 campaign, so it's pretty much over the English Channel and the South Coast. And I've had a couple of patrols. There's a total of 6, I think, in the chapter. So I thought I'd share one of the patrols with everybody. So if somebody in the chat can let me know that the orientation's right on this, because I don't trust it, and that you can actually hear me, etc., and see what's going on the board, that would be great. So Skies Above Britain. So related to the Skies Above the Reich, it's the Battle of Britain, and I'll take you through the patrol and run you through the mechanics as I do it. But the idea is that I've got a squadron of 12 Hurricanes here. These are the Hurricanes in blocks, and they're split into 2 flights, A and B, and then down into sections, which are red, blue, yellow, and green. And they are represented on the board by this counter here. Now, this board here is mainly a representation of the area around a German Battle of Britain raid. There's nothing there yet because we haven't actually got the raid on the map yet. So what are we concerned with here? We're concerned with this part of the raid track, part of the board called the raid track, and it's split into 6 sections here, and each of these, and they're grouped 2 by 2 by 2. So this is known here as the coast section, and there's 2 spaces there. There's the middle section and there's the deep section. So the coast section, of course, is the coast of England. Middle is getting into sort of the south of England, and then deep, further into England. And the idea is this is the raid counter here, and it starts off the board, and it will appear as we go through by turning over what's known as these inbound vector markers. It will appear, and then we will try and intercept it with this squadron marker. Now, once it's intercepted, it's called contact. Then we'll shift across to this board here, and we'll be dealing with playing these cards and also using these hurricanes as well. There's a bit of a gap here in the board, and this is where the bomber formation will be displayed. And bomber formation is usually groups of 3 aircraft. These are, and there will be several of these, and they will be grouped together, and we will actually move these to attack the bombers. That sounds all wonderful. The only problem is there is likely to be an escort with. Hi, Mike. Good to see you. Good to see you. There's likely to be an escort. We don't know yet. Could be ME-109s, could be ME-110s, could be both. There could be a lot of them. There could be a few of them. We won't know until we turn up and have a look and see what we're fighting. Now, generally, what we can do is we can actually chop up this squadron and give them different jobs. So some of them can go after the escort if there is one. Others can go after bombers, and we can change those by what's known as orders. So that's to give you an overview. I just want to, as we're coming through here, at some point the raid will actually be dropping their bombs and turning around and going for home. And this is what these arrows represent. So depending on which section you're in, they will turn around, and this is the journey home. So the equivalent of this going backwards away. Won't worry too much about the numbers at the moment. We can, yeah, I'll explain that if it becomes necessary. Okay, so on the setup, I've got hurricanes here which have pilots in them, which are represented by the counters above them with a letter. And the letter corresponds to my pilot roster here, going from A down to W. Now this is 20 pilots, but I've only got 12 hurricanes. So we allocate 12 out of the 20 during each patrol, and I've done that here. So as you can see, hopefully you can see the detail. We've got U, F, and D here, C, W, T, N, M, and I, and O, R, and K. And on the roster sheet, I've used those letters to actually build proper names. So for example, U here is Underwood, F here is Fulgate. So these are who are flying actually in these hurricanes, and each of the hurricanes have got a designation. So if we look at the green, so this is the green leader, and then this is green 3 and green 2. Oops, glare. So them, all three of them together are a section, and we order sections about. They can become break up and become separated during the raid, but at the start they're all together, and they're all in the deep area of the raid track. So what do we do to start off with? One last thing to talk about here is these little blocks here. These are fuel markers, and the colors actually relate to the sections here. So all those colors are represented here as well. When you start getting low fuel, you may actually not make it back to base. Right, so let's go through any of the remaining setup I need to do, and that would be just looking through the. So we are not actually necessarily there. I have to do a dice roll to see whereabouts I am. I could be in either any of those. So we use D12s in this game, usually one at a time, although occasionally you might roll them together. And we've got an 8. Now an 8 plus means we actually start on the coast. However, we've traveled there, so we actually lose 3 fuel by getting there, but we're right in the right place to intercept this raid. But the raid's not actually here. We can't actually find it yet. Yes, we are closer. So yes, we're on the coast. So having done that, we need to check the visibility. That's another dice roll. And here is, yeah. I'm not sure where the table is on here, but it's yeah, it's on the. It depends on the actual campaign we're doing. So it's a different chart, which is this one over here. So let's roll for that, and we've got an 11. In 11, our starting is haze with no sun. So we have no sun in haze. That's our visibility, in which case we don't place a sun marker on the raid chart here yet. That could change though, very, very likely to change. Okay, for the bomber formation and the escort, we don't roll yet. We roll for that when it becomes relevant. Okay, so we do what's known as the raid vector sequence now, which is here. So 4 sections: reveal, fuel, contact, and vector. Reveal is we pull one of these, turn one of these over, and do what it says. Fuel means we reduce our fuel by 1. Contact means we attempt to intercept the raid if it's on the board, and vector is for us to move if we didn't do a contact. Okay, so let's go through that sequence. The first thing, of course, is reveal. So we take the first inbound vector and we turn it over. And what have we got? So what we should do is turn it over this way. So the first thing we have is weather. And then the second thing we have is an icon called Messerschmitt. So let's put that back there for the minute. And what do we do for weather? I don't think I've had a weather before, so I'm going to have to look it up. Sorry. Yeah, weather is... So weather. So visibility changes to haze. If haze already, it's now clouds. So we move to clouds here. Now, the relevance of that is when you have clouds, the raid could get away from you. It could disappear in the clouds and you lose them. So it's not a great thing. However, we've got Messerschmitt as the second. So Messerschmitt means that one of our 4 sections here, is attacked by 109s. So that's brilliant. It's a good start, isn't it? So we've been bounced by some patrol of ME-109s. So we actually determine randomly which section this is going to happen to. So I think throughout the whole thing, we just do a 1 to 3. Was it 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9, 10 to 12. So let's roll the dice for that, and we get an 8. So counting back, that's yellow section. So yellow section has been intercepted by some Messerschmitt. It's a good start, really. We haven't even got the raid on the board, and we're already in trouble. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to pull what's known as a Luftwaffe advantage card. So this sets up the dogfight that we're going to have to go through with these Messerschmitt. So let's turn it over and see what it says. So Luftwaffe advantage, there's our Hurricane. It looks like a Spitfire, but believe me, it's a Hurricane. And we are being tailed by, well, that's the section anyway. This is being tailed by 4 ME-109s. Ouch. And it says if the German fighters are 110s, they are not. We can do something, but it doesn't matter. So we ignore that card, that part of the card, and we have 4. Count them, 4 ME-109s coming at us. Just pull those out. Here we go. So this is the counter with, as you can see there, 4 ME-109s. And what we do, it's with yellow section, is they were tailing us. So we're being tailed, so they're behind us. So now we run through a sequence of play known as the dogfight cycle. The dogfight cycle is here. So depending on what the orientation of the enemy is with us, we can do... we spend 1 fuel for yellow, that's true as well. Thank you, Mike. Yes, because they've been intercepted. So head on, tailed, or tailing. We are being tailed. We have to decide on what's known as a maneuver. Once we decide that, we will turn a card over to see what happens with one of the tailed cards, which is here, and check if once we resolve that, then we do a hit check. So if we get hit, we check whether it's severe or trivial. If it's severe, we end up in what's known as a fate box up here, depending on what the damage is. If it's trivial, then we're okay. And then we resume from that point on. So now we've got our 3 Hurricanes here, yellow section, with 4 ME-109s behind us. Hopefully you can see that. Yep. And we pull a tailed card. Oh, no, we don't. We do what our maneuver is going to be. As we don't really care about these ME-109s, I'm going to try and do what's known as an evade. So we have a choice of evade, turn, or slip. So turn is an attempt to get all 3 Hurricanes turned around and meet the ME-109s. A slip is an attempt to take one of the Hurricanes and just get it behind the ME109s, and an evade is we're just trying to get out of the way. Now, what evade does is we end up pulling two-tailed cards, and we get a choice of which one to actually pick. So we'll do that now. Decided to evade. So this is our first card, and here's our second card. So it's a short matrix, 4x4 2x2 matrix. So what we're looking at here is we're a section of hurricanes, and we're intercepted by 109s. This is a single hurricane, and this is 110s. So we're in these quadrants on the two cards. So for here, if we turned, then we'd get a hit on one of our green pilots, and we do have a green pilot. This is C here. C is chance. He's green, so we don't like that. If we didn't, then there's a hit on a green pilot, and we use a fuel. So that's not really a very good result for us. Here we have an L, a hit, and a vanish. It's the L. I'm trying to remember what the L is. L is loose. So what happens is one of our pilots gets detached from the section. I think that's preferable to that one, because we'll end up with two hits here. We'll take a hit, and the vanish is important because the vanish means that the 4 ME109s disappear. They just go away. So I'm certainly going to pick this card. So the first thing we do is we will work out who has had to break away. So we have a 1 to 4, 5 to 8, and 9 to 12 here. So it's a 1, so it is yellow 3, this guy. So what we do is we move him out of the section, and he's what's known as lost contact. So put a counter on him here for lost contact. There's also a space on the board called lost contact here. We could put him here, but I'll just put him here for the moment, just so everything's together, even though it's not together anymore. Okay, so we've got the L, then we take a hit. So we need to find out who's going to take the hit now. So I think with this sequence, it's going to be one of these two guys, because he's no longer with the section. So here we'll get even and odd as a random decider. It's odd, so therefore it's yellow 2. We'll get a hit. So we have a load of markers sitting in a cup here, which we pick out, and we use the red side of the counter. Okay, so we have a wing hit, which is a 6. So the wing is important if you have to go to a fate box. They're different fate boxes depending on where the damage is, and a 6 is how nasty the hit is. We have to go to the hit check phase. We'll roll against that number. If we get equal to or more than that number, then it's trivial and we throw it away. If it's less, then we have to go into the fate box, and that's basically that hurricane's patrol over, and we need to see what happens to him at the end. Okay, so we got the hit, and then we have a vanish. So the vanish means that our ME109s have disappeared, so they go off. Brilliant. Oh, I was just checking the oh, we have Gina in the chat. Hi Gina, thanks for joining us. Hopefully I'm playing it all right. Hopefully I'm playing it all right. But yeah, welcome, and thanks for joining in. Okay, so we have a result there. The next thing we do is we go to our hit check, and this is to do with this counter. So we'll roll a dice, and let's see if the hit is severe or trivial. A 10, so that's greater, which means that it is trivial. Which is great. We just throw it back in the cup, and yellow 2, whose C chance is fine, to carry on. Right, so once we've done that, on the resume, are we engaged? So we need to see, are there enemy around us? And the answer is no, we're not engaged. So that means that they haven't got separated from everybody else. They're still part of the squadron, so we can carry on with the raid vector sequence. So we've done the reveal. Now we do fuel. So this means that all of these, including the yellow, go down by 1 for the turn. Then we see if we can contact, and we can't contact because the raid is not actually on the board yet, so we can't find it. And then we have a vector phase. So what can we can move boxes, or we can move altitude, and I like doing that. So this counter underneath the marker means we go to high altitude, and I think that's usually a better place to be. Okay, and that is our raid vector sequence here. We've done all the 4 steps, so we just cycle around and start again. Yeah, high is good. Yeah, Mike, it is. I've noticed that on the first 2 patrols. Okay, so what do we do next? Well, we've used this guy, so we now reveal the next. And here we have a direction change, and we have Messerschmitts again. Brilliant. Okay, so the turning point, the direction change, is to do with the orientation of a sun. We don't have the sun at the moment because we got clouds, so it doesn't really do anything that for the moment, so we can ignore that. But we're back with Messerschmitts. So who of the Messerschmitts intercepted now? So we do have this lost contact guy. He's on his own, so I think there's a possibility he could be jumped. Just checking. Yeah, yeah. Maybe got neon signs around. So with Messerschmitts, 1 section or RAF fighter. So how do we decide? Select a section at random. If none, select a fighter. So they won't intercept the fighter, they'll intercept a section, which is these 4 here. So again, we can roll to see which one it is. 12, so it's green section here. So again, we pull out a Luftwaffe advantage card. What do we got here? We got behind you. They're the blue tweezer channel. Yeah, indeed. So we're tailed by another 4 Messerschmitts. Lovely. If it's a heavy escort, so we don't know if it's a heavy escort, add another 2 in head on. So now we have to determine what the escort is like to be able to resolve that card. So looking at that, we have what's known as our escort stations chart. So this varies per campaign chapter, so it's not on the board, etc. So here we find out what we've got. So let's roll the dice and see what comes up. An 8. An 8 is port 109s, starboard 110s. Now they are not heavy. They don't have the heavy moniker here. So 109's port and 110 starboard. So we could actually mark that. So on port station we have 109s and 110s. We have starboard. We know that much. But these 109s are not a heavy escort, so therefore there isn't another 2 coming at us. We only have the 4 tailing us. So it's same thing again. It's just with the green section. So we've got our 109s coming in behind us. So we now have to check a maneuver. I really like evade in this in these sections, just to try and shake them off. You may get 2 bad cards, but I think rather than trying to dogfight them, we haven't even got to the raid. We need to shake these guys off. So we're going to evade again. So pick 2 tailed cards and have a look and see what we have here. So again, top left quadrant. So if we were turning, be a hit and a vanish. Alternatively, it's 2 hits. Ouch. Okay, and there I was saying you could get 2 bad cards. It looks like I oh, I think you would ignore the event. Which event? The Messerschmitts? Oh, okay. Is that true? Oh, okay. I thought you decided the escorts whenever you needed to, but oh, in which case, okay, I'll okay. Okay, so I actually ignore it. Okay, so I'll ignore it. So let's wind all that back up. Shuffle the cards back in. Must admit, I didn't notice that. I rolled. Okay, so we didn't get Messerschmitt. So in which case, not much happened. We still can't contact, but we could move. But I don't think I want to move. I want to be exactly in this spot at the high level. So that's our raid vector sequence. Thanks for the clarification here. I missed that. So we're on to the next sequence. So that goes. And now we're on to the second box here. We're still in the coastal area though. So let's flip this over, see what we get. And we have a straggler. Oh, now that's interesting. Yes, that's it's kind of the opposite of Messerschmitts actually. That means there's a lone bomber who's got separated, and we have the possibility of bouncing it. Now, interestingly enough, I think we could send the lost contact fighter. Can we do that? Let's have a look. So select randomly. So I'm not sure if that's select randomly for the actual bomber formation or just for that one bomber. Okay, so yeah, an independent fighter could attack it. So let's determine what bomber it is. Again, determine randomly. So I think it's not to do with the raid, but I think we can use the same table just to determine what the bomber type is. That table is here, and these are the options here. So I think it's probably worth using this table, I think. It's most likely to be a Stuka. Let's roll and see. You get a 6. It is a Stuka. So we have a Stuka, which is stuck out on its own and vulnerable. So we will actually take yellow 3 to attack it. Now, in this situation, we can approach from any orientation, I think, because it's a straggler. So I think we are going to come in via the nose. Yeah, and now we do what's known as the bomber cycle. So the bomber cycle is here. We have an approach, and then the burst is first firing. Disengage means, you know, we move away from the bomber, and then we check any hit checks for us, and then we go to the resume to see what happens next. So so our approach, we're coming in on the nose. We're allowed to do that. I'm not sure if there are penalties to do when you've got a straggler. Let me just check on the it's on one of the player aid cards, I think. Not that one. Here we go. So ignore disruption, or if we are nose low. So I believe we're high, and the disruption is all about breaking the bombers up, which there's only one bomber here, so it doesn't really matter. So we come in on the nose, and we select one of these bomber cards. Now these are medium bomber cards, so we need to look for the light bomber cards, which are relevant for the Stuka, which I think I put away somewhere. Where are they? Ah, there they are. They're over to the side here. So we use these light bomber cards instead. Shuffle it. And we'll just put those there for the moment and turn one over. Okay, so we are coming from the nose. So this column, and it's a lone Stuka. So that results in that crosshairs there, which wonderfully is a hit. So we actually do hit it coming through. So another cup here we've got with the damage markers for the enemy. So let's see what comes up. We have, and we look at the hurricane, we've got a wing damage. So it's not down. We damaged it. Then we disengage. We didn't get hit, so there's no need for a hit check. And then we see what we do for resume. So this is the raid effector sequence here. So we go back to the bomber cycle. So we still fight with them and start with approach. Now, because we're already there, if we use nose or tail, we'll incur a delay because we have to get to the right, or we have to either chase the bomber and get in front of it or turn around the back of it. So I'm going to come in from the side here, either starboard or port. I believe this is left, so it's port. And we go through the same burst again. So let's look at that. Pick another card. We have a green plus and an ammo. So the ammo marker means we are now low ammunition. So we've used up quite a bit of our ammunition so far. And the green plus means there is a hit on the dorsal gunner. So dorsal gunner is hit, which means that we would have some advantages from not being hit by that dorsal gunner. It counts as a fuselage hit anyway. Now, looking at here, a Stuka would be destroyed if we have 3 of any damage, or 1 cockpit or 1 engine. We don't have a cockpit or engine, and we've got 2 damage here, so we're not. He's still flying. Disengage again. No hit check for us, and we cycle back around. He comes back in. We're going to do the same thing again. High crossing. Flank is the safest. Yeah, but I thought try and get in, and see what I could do on the nose. All right, so we are bursting again, and we get another fuselage hit. It's another gunner hit, and another ammo marker. So that means we've run out of ammunition. So we can't actually fight anymore. We can't actually shoot things anymore. A second gunner hit, I think, just counts as a fuselage. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Just check. Also gunner. It counts as another fuselage damage. Okay, so that means that we get another one of these counters, which means we have 3 damage markers on a Stuka, which means just in time we destroy it. So we just mark it down as yellow 3. Yellow 3, which is, I believe, Turner, has knocked a Stuka out. So let's just mark that up. We haven't even got the raid going yet, and here we go. So Turner here has successfully hit a bomber. So we'll get some points for that. He'll get some experience for that. He's on no ammo now, and he is lost contact. And what's going to basically happen... Oh, don't throw the dorsal one in there. What's basically going to happen is he's going to end up going home anyway, because he can't really fight. But we don't do that quite yet. Okay, so we finished the bomber cycle. So we're back on the reveal. So that's what we did on the reveal. We do our fuel. And then we attempt to contact. There's nothing to contact yet, so we can't do that. And on vector, again, quite happy with my position, so we stick with that. Let's give that marker. Background again to the reveal, the inbound vector. What do we got here? Ahaha, here we go. So we have the crosshairs here, and then we have flak guns. So we take it in order. So the raid marker gets to place the raid on the board in the same space as the vector marker was. So it's appeared there. I don't think we do anything more than that. Pretty sure we don't. Let's check. We have raid. Okay, the visibility, if the visibility is clear, we will check the escort station markers. Sorry, I need to take those off because we didn't check that. But it's not clear, so we don't put the escorts down because we can't see them yet. But we've noticed the raid where we are. So, and we also have then the flak guns. So that means that one of the bombers has taken a damage. We don't know which one, but we pick a damage marker out of the cup, which is an engine fallen. So that will apply to one of the bomber formation. One of the bombers will have actually fallen with engine damage, which is great. What also might happen with the flak is it might hit us because we're in the same area. Flak. Yeah, so we get the same number of hit markers as the bombers did, which is 1. So we get a hit marker and we get it on one of the fighters. So let's roll to see which fighter. 9 would be here. It's one of these. And then roll again to see which of those. Odd and even. It's even, so it's the yellow leader. So that is W, which is right, I believe his name is. Oh, nasty one. That's a fuselage 8 hit. And we immediately resolve it to see what the hit check says. And remember, we need equal to or more than. 3 is not good enough. So he has a fuselage hit, so he is out of the fight. And we put him in the fuselage box up here. And at the end of the raid, we'll find out what happens to him. Yellow section it's not looking too good, is it? It's a bit denuded now. I believe now I can send this guy home around this point, so we can get rid of those markers. No ammo in the lost contact. He's gone home. So that was the flak. So that's the resolution of that inbound vector marker. And so now we move on to fuel, of course. And then we may attempt contact, which I think we're going to do here. So we are going to try and contact the raid here. And to do that, I don't think that's... yeah. Doing contact. Okay, so we got the contact tables here. So whether in the same zone or in adjacent zone. So we roll a dice here. We are high altitude, so it's +1. It's -1 if clouds, and we do have clouds. So they cancel each other out, and it's just a straight roll on that table. So let's do that. A 6. A 6 is flank low, or we can spend a fuel to go flank high or nose low. Okay, so I haven't got a lot of fuel left, but high is good. So I think flank high is the thing to do. So we are going to use a fuel to do that. Right. So we're on the flank. So which flank is it? Interesting. Which flank do we end up with? But maybe it's a choice. So it'll be starboard or port, presumably. Yeah, I'm not sure where that's decided, but we will pick starboard. We are high still, so we're flank high. Okay. So what that means is that suddenly we change into a different sequence. So our raid vector sequence, which we've been happily doing up here, changes to the interception sequence. So on the interception sequence, the first thing we do is known as orders. So we can do one of three things with each of our sections, or the whole formation, or split them into flights. And I think we will split them. Oh, we need to find out about the escort, don't we? And what bombers they are. Yeah, so we do the escort station first, which is part of the scenario. Here we go. Pull that out. See what escorts we have. So we'll re-roll. We did that before, but we did it in error. So let's roll again. So a 4. Ouch. Okay, that's worse. So 109 heavy at high station and 109s at starboard. Oh, great. So right with us. So we have 109s at starboard station, and we have heavy 109s. Was that tail? No, high station. So that's quite a lot of Messerschmitts there. Lots of 109s. Not great. And let's have a look at the bomber formation. So rolling on this chart again. It's a 5, so it is Stukas, in which case we can get rid of this bomber set. Those are actually tailed. And introduce our light bomber set of cards. And we do another dice roll to see in what formation they actually are in. That's a 5. So a 5 is sort of arrowhead formation here. So we need to make a little bit of space. This game does require more space than you think. So let's find some Stukas. So the orientation is here. Let's get rid of the pencil here. Nope. Here. And then we have another set. We really are running out of space here. Let's push that. No, we can't push that back. Actually, I might change the orientation up to this way. I think it'll make this simpler because we have more width. And then we have a section in the middle. Oops, stickers like that. All right. So we've determined the bomber type and we've determined escort. We do need to determine who gets this though. Which of the bombers has had an engine failure? An engine hit on a Stuka actually means it's destroyed because they've only got one engine. So this will earn us a destroyed marker. Well, not earn us, but it'll appear a destroyed marker. So let's determine. So we have 6 here. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 2, 4, 6, 8. So this tile, and we've got 3 here. So 1 to 4, 5 to 8, 9 to 10, 5 to 8. So it's the head guy there. So we put a destroyed marker on there, and we can put this back in a cup. Okay, so that's the situation of the raid at the moment. So what are our orders? So I think we want to split up here. I want to get B Flight to go for the escorts. So I'm going to give them an escort marker. And then A Flight to go for the bombers, if they can get there. So that's our orders done. Move on to the next part of the interception sequence, which is escorts. So we try and intercept the escorts with B Flight. So we look at the table for interception. So who are we trying to intercept here? We're trying to intercept probably the high station here, I think. So where are we? We're on the flank and we're high. Here we go. And the escort station here is high. They're 109s, so that will be a 10 or more, which is not a great. Yeah, it's not a great number to do. Should we maybe go for the starboard here? So starboard, same side. No, we'll go for the high. Let's try that. So we roll against 10. It equal to or greater. No, we didn't get it. So we didn't intercept them. Now I think. Oh, hang on. This is the bombers. Looking at the wrong chart here. Here we go. Here we go. So, right, we're flank high. Let's look on here. So intercepting 109s is a 9. So we still didn't do it. Okay. So if we succeeded, we would have drawn what's known as an RAF advantage card. If we fail, which we did, we draw a Luftwaffe advantage card. So if we've got the whole flight here, we've got the whole flight, which is 2 sections. I think, do we pick 2 advantage cards? I think here, 1 for yellow and 1 for green. So the yellow card So tailed by 4 again. Green pilot becomes independent, is tailed by a rotor. Replace the swarm with another rotor. So he is a green pilot, see? Chance. So he becomes independent and he's tailed by a rotor instead. Okay. So it's 2 ME-109s. I think we're doing this right. Okay, so he's independent and 2 ME-109s are following him. We do that combat and then we do that combat. I think that's the sequence here. So what am I going to do here? I'm going to attempt to turn. So let's give us a turn marker. It's only facing 2. We are being tailed, so let's pick 1 card, and that's what we get. We are a lone hurricane, and it's a lone ME-109. We get an R result. R is reduce. So what happens is that the number of 109s actually goes down by 1. So we're only being tailed by 1 now. Okay, there's no hit here. So we don't need to check that. And we are still engaged, so we are lost contact. So let's get that marker. So we've fallen behind the raid, and he's now lost contact. And then we go through the cycle again. So I'm going to try and turn again. Now I'm facing only the 1. Pick out a tailed card. And what do we got here? So we get hit, but there's a reduction as well. So reduction would mean our single ME-109 will actually disappear, but we do get hit. So let's take that off. And we pick out a hit marker. And it's a wing 3. Oh, that's good. Well, it's not good, but it's low at least. We now resolve that. So a 3 or more, and it's trivial. A 6, it's trivial. So we'll get back. But that dogfight is now over. There's no more Messerschmitts. So he goes to the lost contact box. We don't need the counter anymore. Okay. So what do we do with green? So green, we get another Luftwaffe advantage card. And we are meeting 2 Messerschmitts head on. Hun in the sun, clear or haze only. We're in clouds, so we ignore this part here. So it's 2 Messerschmitts head on. Put that back down. And we get our marker again. And so this is what's happening here. Now, with head on or tailing, we don't get to pick a maneuver. So we don't do anything with that. All we do is we just resolve. So head on and tailing is a different pile of cards. This is head on. Let's have a look. So we are a section. We are head on. And it's 109s. So here. So we get a vanish. And then a G means, I believe, a green pilot gets separated. We do have a green pilot, but the Messerschmitts disappear. Okay, so they go. And the green pilot, which is green 3, is separated and has lost contact. Okay, so now the engagement is over. We're not being engaged. We can continue. Here, we're not lost contact with the other 2 guys, but our green pilot disappeared somewhere. Right. So now, once we've resolved the escort dogfights, because we didn't do very well, we check for escort suppression. No, that's the wrong book. So Okay, the escort suppression table is here. So we look at the, what we should do is resolve this. So we've got green still up here, and then we got B flight. So it's A flight, isn't it? A flight up here as well for the moment. So green went to intercept. So we have heavy, and the number of fighters that are engaged is, well, there was originally 4. I'm not sure we end up with just 4. Check that. Does it matter what we end up with or what we started with? At the start, yes. So there was 4 of us. So we're on this table here. So here, if we roll a 9 or better, we reduce. If we roll a 5 or better, we suppress. It's an 11, so that is a reduce. So the heavy 109s become just standard escort. Does that also reduce? Gives the suppression as well? Yes, I suppose, because it's also higher than the 5. So you can take this escort marker and we can escort suppressed on there. Good. Okay. So we've done our interception or lack of interception with the escorts. So now we go to the bombers and see what happens there. We've got our A flight going in there. So we're attempting to intercept the bombers. And I'll get the chart for that. So we are on the flank. We are high. Escort station. There is an escort station starboard, which is on its own. So on the same side, we need an 8 or more. So let's roll the 8. I think green needed to go down a fuel as well. I think from the, I'll check that. I'm not sure. A 4 is a failure. Okay, so roll less than fail. So the escorts attack us. Okay. Yeah, and we are now lost contact on both sections. So this is not going well. Lost contact. Actually, yeah, we can just flip these over. They're now lost contact, and we get a Luftwaffe advantage card. So we start with red. Red, tailed by 4, section only, and a green pilot only. We have no green pilots in red, so ignore that. So we're tailed by 4 109s. It's kind of the story of the raid, really, isn't it? So let's get our 4 109s over, and we're being tailed. What are we going to do here? Well, we might as well fight them. So we're going to try and turn. We've lost contact with the raid, so we're going to try and turn. Pick a tailed card. So flight of hurricanes against 109s. So we lose a pilot. It gets separated. We spend a fuel. This is red section. Green pilot gets hit. There's no green pilots, and there's a reduction. So lots of things going on there, but not a lot of it particularly good. Right, so loose. Who gets loose? Is 7. 7 is the leader goes. So he is separate as well. And that gets a reduction. I think with a loose pilot, is there a chance the 109s follow him? Okay, so I may have... Yeah, so the 109s could follow him, or they could stick with these guys. I think we'll stick with these guys, I think. So, no hit checks. Next round, we're going to try and do a turn again. Tailed, let's pick up a card. And Hurricane Section against 109s. We have a turn. We got a successful turn, but we are also low ammo. We ignore what's below the yellow line because the top section is valid. So no ammo on one of the fighters, and we do complete a turn. So we are even and odd. 5, it's odd. This guy gets a low ammo. And the result of the turn, I believe, is we change the orientation. Turn means... yeah, head on. Oh, hang on. Yeah. Okay, so what happens is that they're now in front of us. We don't need a maneuver marker now. And we keep fighting. So now we're head on. So we pick a different card now. So we are head on section versus 109s. They vanish and a green pilot gets hit. No green pilots, so they're just going to vanish. So 109s disappear. So we pick out the advantage card now for blues. And we have 2 head on. No hun in the sun because we're in clouds. So just the 2 109s coming at us head on. So in this case, we have this orientation. And we pick up a head-on card. So we are a section against 109s. They cause a hit and then they vanish. So we get a hit with somebody. Who's it going to be? Odd or even? It's even, so it is red 3. Ooh, wing 9. That's not very nice. They vanish. And we need to do a hit check. So is that valid or just trivial? A 9. It's trivial. Well done. Shook that off. Good. Okay, but they are now lost contact now. So yeah, except for blue and part of green, everybody else is all over the sky now. Oh, hang on. What was that? No, this is the... I did the wrong thing. It should have been over here. Never mind, they vanished. I was looking at the wrong section, still looking at red when I should have been at blue, but doesn't make any difference. It would have landed and we rolled on the hit check, etc. No difference. Okay, so that's our bomber interception, if you can believe it. And did we do any cruise orders? So cruise is trying to get around and about the raid, so move around rather than actually try and attack. We didn't do that. So entropy is the next section. And entropy is a bomber formation section. So if we actually manage to get into the bomber formation, we'd have another hack at them now, but we didn't. So we ignore that section. And then we have an escort reaction. And again, I think that's if we have people in the bomber formation, which is sort of sitting here, and we don't. Yeah, we don't do an escort reaction because we didn't get there. We were just tussling with a load of 109s for the whole turn. Then we can do a thing called chase. So this is where they lost contact sections and fighters can try and get back to the raid. At the moment, they're not in the vicinity anymore, but they're going to try and catch up. Okay, so with a chase, so first thing we can do is we can return to base if we want to with any of them. I don't really want to do that because they're all okay at the moment. All right, so so let's start with red section here. They are lost contact. We're going to try and chase. So we roll a dice and we look at the chase chart, chase table here. So we have light escort and it is no sun clouds. So our so we need to roll on a 9. If we roll a 1 or a 2, we get intercepted. A 10, yes. So they are no longer lost contact. Let's look at blue section now. So same deal. We need a 9. A 1, we get intercepted. Okay, so Luftwaffe advantage card. We get tailed by 2. No Hun in the sun, of course. There is no sun. So tailed by 2 Messerschmitts. They're all over the place today. What are we going to do? I'm going to do my favoured turn. Or is it 3 of us? Let's try a slip, shall we? Let's try and slip one of the fighters behind him. So we are tailed. And we are a section, 109s. Should have turned. Ouch. That's what we get as a result. So 2 hits, a fuel. So that's a red fuel. A reduction, but 2 hits. So that becomes 1 fighter. And we get 2 hits. So who's the first hit on? 9, which is blue 2. Pilot N, which is Napier. Engine 5. And the second hit is 1. So that's on blue 3. That was a nasty card, that. Should have turned. Fuselage 7. Right. So let's resolve those. This is the engine 5. 10, it's trivial. And the fuselage 7. 11 is trivial as well. Wow. Survived that. So we cycle round again. And he still tails us. So let's see what turns up. So we're Hurricane Section 109. Oh, we have to keep the slip. We do get a slip. I might have changed it, but I didn't. So it's a slip, and we turned out with a slip. So with a slip there, let's see what that does for us. Yeah, ignore all the other results. Remove 1 RAF fighter so that it's tailing. So what do is we'll take blue 2, and he's now tailing the 109, and he's not following the section anymore. So now we have a different dynamic now. So now that we're tailing, get rid of the maneuver marker, and we just pick a tailing card. So we are tailing a single Hurricane, tailing a 109. He vanishes and we get tailed by 2 more. So what happens is that. Ouch. That's not a very nice card for tailing. It's the first time I'm actually tailing a fighter and we get a bad result. So we're back to tailed, and now we are a single hurricane. It's 109. They vanish, but they give us a hit. So we have a hit on that fighter. And the hit is wing 9. Ouch. And vanish. So he disappears. And let's do the hit check. That's a 6. So he is out of the fight. And that is wing. So we don't actually need to keep these on here once we've decided they're in the fate boxes. So that's great. Yeah, that attempt to chase was very, very unsuccessful. Okay, so those two tried to chase, and then we can do these individuals here. So let's start with green. So when it's a single fighter, we actually roll a dice and take the lowest. So it's very much less likely. So with light, escort, again, we're on the 9 and the 1 to 2. 8 and 7, no. So nothing happens. Oh yes, we need to check with red section who did succeed. Where do they come in? It's a section, so we roll a dice to see where they appear. On a 1, they start at port low. So if you give us the red section, the A market doesn't exist anymore. We're at port low. And yeah, blue section, I lost contact. Okay, so we determined that. Then we got yellow 2, quite risky this, a 4 and a 6 failed, and red leader, 7 and a 10, very close, but no, we take the 7. So again, no, chase does not succeed. They're kind of stuck here. Wow, okay, so that's our chase done. So is the patrol complete? No, it's not. We've still got aircraft here. Escort recovery, remove the suppressed marker. Does the escort exit? So I think that's depending on the numbers here. So it's a escort reduced. I think that's the number we look at. Escort exit. Yeah, so that's, so we compare with 11. So let's start with starboard here. And no, they stay. And for high, no, they're both staying. Is it in a, is the raid in a space with channel patrol? I don't know. It is not. So we can then do reform now. So what could happen is that a separated fighter could rejoin their section. We could create what's known as an ad hoc section for these 3 fighters. So what we do is we create this into a new section, and we use one of these markers for its fuel. It's got a red leader, so it's actually there. Just looking at that, we're actually quite low on fuel here. I don't think we can keep going here, can we? We need to really return to base. particularly with red section here. So maybe this isn't a good idea. No, we won't form. Right, and then now we go back to the raid vectors. So, but what we do now is we actually flip all of these over. So we got a weather. So if it's already haze, it goes clouds. If it's already clouds, I think it stays clouds. Just check that. Weather. Yeah, that's it. Okay, and then the next one. Okay, we get a sun reorientation, which isn't relevant because we've got clouds, and then we get another raid marker. Now this is significant because what happens now is the raid actually drops its bombs and moves down this track here, so it gets to this point here at the coast. So it's now positioned here, so it's not continuing further in. It will now turn around and actually start to go out, and we have different counters for the outbound. But I think we won't really get that far. Okay, so that's the raid vector, and then we go back to the beginning with our orders. So the lost contact guys can't really do anything. So what we're left with is green section and red section. Oh, so red section really need to go home. And is this the point where we can do that in orders? I think it might be. Orders. Did we miss a fuel? No, I think we did that. So we can do RTB instead, return to base. So these guys as red are going to go home. Right, so we're kind of left with green section here. I don't think we're getting back here. It's clouds. We've got 2 fires. We still got escort here. So actually, I'm going to RTB everybody. I'm going to give this up as a bad fight. Yeah, we're going to return home with everybody. And give up. They've dropped their bombs. So blues end up here. Greens are here. Yellow and red. Okay, so everybody lands. Now we haven't got into the low empty or vapor area, so these guys all land correctly. However, we need to find out what's happened to yellow leader being right, and also blue 2. Blue 2 is Napier. So let's look at the fuselage first. Okay, so it's a hurricane. So we're on this table here. So we roll a dice. And a 3 comes out as a fire. So we had either in the hangar, he got home, he crashes, or it's a fire. And we got a fire. He's not a green pilot, so we follow along this arrow to here. And we've got 1 to 3, he's dead. 4 to 7, he's in hospital. 8+, he bails out. Let's hope he bails out. 10, he bails out. So this means that yellow leader has bailed out. That means that he won't be able to fight the next patrol, but he's okay. So let's look at the wing here. We have a hurricane. 1 to 6 is a fire. 7 crashes. 8 to 12 he's in a hangar. So we want something high. A 3 is not it. We're on a fire again. He's not green. Oh, is he green? That's blue 2. No, he's not. So we're on this chart. 1 to 3, he's going to die. 4 to 9, he's in hospital. 10 or more, he's bailed out. Need high, please. Oh, 1. Oh dear. So that means that Napier has, yeah. ended up in a ball of flame with this, and he is out of it. Oh dear. So we need to scratch him off. So that in that entire raid, we managed the grand total with the loss of Napier. So he's out of it. We got a grand total of Turner knocking down one Stuka here, which was the Straggler. And that's it. That's all we got as one victory point. So that was pretty much a failure there. But anyway, that's probably enough of me chattering around. Hope those watching enjoyed. And thanks again to Gina and Mike for a couple of helping hints there as well. And hopefully I'll see you on the channel again. Let's say things are very intermittent at the moment, but hope to get back on soon. Until then, bye for now.